Hey, my beautiful bitches, it's me, Fiona St. James, and welcome to another episode of Fiona's Coffee Talks. And as always, I like to start off every day or every afternoon with a fresh, hot, black cup of coffee. Hold the cream! I'd love to, in my favorite coffee mug, which is my logo. Coffee with no Kahlua. And remember my favorite quote, life is too important to be taken seriously. So lighten up, folks. So that is today's topic, life updates in reference to specifically my life and my work, which as we all know, I work as a massage therapist and also as an actor on these film and television sets. So, I mean, it's been an interesting time to say the least. I should mention it's about 7 o'clock on Thursday, November 19th. I always like to state the current day and time, although I don't think this will air for a few weeks. But, when the pandemic first hit, obviously productions came to a screeching halt. And in terms of seeing massage clients, I did not renew my ads. And I didn't see clients for probably the first 4 months. But about 4 months ago, I guess back in July, I started seeing them again. And I would say that business-wise, the first month it was about half what I did, but the subsequent months I've been pretty much up to par. It's interesting because it's not that I'm getting the same kind of volume. I'm actually seeing a little few people less per month that I would normally see, but they've all been compensating me well. But it's interesting, I take my precautions. I wear my mask. I have my contactless thermometer, so I take their temperature. I am very open and honest about the fact that, I've been tested and it's come back negative. And, I'd like to know that they have been. And, I'll even go as far as sending them a screenshot of my latest result just so that they know. But, now that it's the second wave is happening and you hear the news and it's numbers are skyrocketing up. It took me so long to get to that point where my level of comfort was there to even see them. And it's been there and I've been fine with it. The second they leave, I disinfect everything and whatnot. But now all of a sudden, with everything happening and things getting a little worse, and I would just imagine that they might just get even a little worse than what they are. Kind of makes me say, shit, if everything shuts down again, if everything shuts down again, I guess I probably would as well, stop seeing clients. I hope that that's not the case, but even I've noticed in the last week or two, the clients that I've had, suddenly my level of comfort, which was here, it's still there, but it's ever so slightly less, although I'm still taking the precautions, and I've been fortunate that, half the clients I'm regular, so being familiar with them, that makes it a lot more comfortable. But you don't know, so I'm sort of when I think of that, it's I'm in an industry where you are in close contact with people. I'm massaging them, I'm touching them, and, they're face down, and they're wearing their mask, I'm wearing my mask, and, I have to think that I'm doing the right thing. But it's just curious for me to see, how I'm going to be because right now I'm still fine with it, but in a minute I may not be. To kind of have to see how everything goes. And, half the time I don't even want to listen to the news anymore because, in New York City, schools as of today are back to remote learning. So schools closed down and, as I said, numbers are going up. And then as for working on these film and TV sets, in the last month, I've worked 3 different times. This is background work, but each time that I've worked, what's great is you have the COVID test beforehand. So you usually get it 2 days before you have to be on set, and they pay you for that as well. So not counting this past week, but the 3 weeks prior to that, each week I worked, and each week I got a COVID test, and knock on wood, came back negative. But even that in itself is a little unnerving because it's like, even though you're doing the right thing, when you're getting tested that frequently, I think it's great. But at the same time, it's like, every time that I get the email with the result, my heart just goes, and I open it as quickly as possible because I just want to know. And every single time I've gone, oh, thank God, but like they say, you could be negative today and then suddenly tomorrow you're not. And then, being on the sets are interesting too, because the 3 different isolated days that I've worked, there's not been a lot of us, they're keeping the numbers to a minimum, It's not hundreds of us background people. It would be like 25 of us. And it's interesting too, like in Holding, the last set that I was on, in Holding, they had the tables and chairs separated like 6 feet apart. So like when you were in Holding, you had to like, you grabbed your table and you pretty much were told, sit there with your mask on. Like they didn't want you walking around and socializing. You had to keep socially distanced. And even like when we were actually on set, you kept your mask on. Of course, when we actually were filming, the mask will come off, and then I would be like, I wasn't that close to people, but even that was a little unnerving. So, after having done it a few times, there's almost a part of me with that I'm like, oh, you know what, this kind of isn't as much fun as it was. Like it just seems a lot more tedious, and it's the unfortunate reality is that it's what it is, and we all kind of have to deal with it. But I don't know. I mean, it hasn't been as fun. Pre-pandemic, it's like you're on set, you're like meeting people, you're hanging out, you're all at the same table, you're socializing, you're networking. There was so little of that, and for the most part, people were keeping to themselves, and because I think everyone's like thinking the same thing. Let me like not stay too close to people. So when all is said and done, it's a paycheck, and I am so fortunate and so happy for all the work that I'm getting. Which again isn't a lot, but it's something. So I just have to be appreciative for that, and just, hopefully keep doing what I'm doing and hopefully, stay safe. I mean, that's all that we all can do, and there are no guarantees. So, tell me, you guys, the industry that you work in, are you back at working, and how comfortable are you back at work? Or, if you're working remotely from home and alone, that's one thing. I do my massages here at home, but I have people coming in here. Because otherwise, like, apart from that, like, I'm not having friends over, I'm not going to people's homes or hanging out with friends. I just, if it's not a client, then I'm pretty much just here alone. I go out, I do things and I have to, but it's interesting times that we're in, and it's interesting that, both things that I do force me to be around people. So, anyway, that's the scoop. I've said this in a lot of my videos, everything happens the way it's supposed to, and the universe only throws my way what it knows I can handle. So I have to think that, however all of this works out or pans out is what is supposed to happen, and, I will be fine, and I will learn from it, and I will ultimately survive. So, all right, guys, I hope you're all staying safe and healthy. I hope whatever industry you're in, if you are back at work, I hope your level of comfort is there for you enough so that, you find some joy out of it. I do get joy out of it, but just as time progresses, I'm like, oh, it's a tiny bit less. All right, guys, thanks again for being here. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button, set your notifications, give me a thumbs up if you like what I have to say. Until the next time, love you.